So one of these days I will get the hang of recording while I'm reading, but I finished Renegades the other day, and this book is so good. I love Marissa Meyer's writing. It's just so easy to read and to fall into, and to have those moments where you're just completely sucked in. So this story follows Nova Artino and Adrian Everhart. Those are the two main characters, and I read this book both physically and audio, and both of the narrators were. I was not expecting dual narration because none of the chapters are labeled as Nova or Adrian, so it was constantly flip-flopping, which was really, really cool for an audiobook. I hadn't heard it done that way, but this was also published back in like the early 2000s, 2010s, somewhere in there. But what this is you have the Renegades and you have the Anarchists, and the Anarchists were originally led by Nova's uncle Ace. And then you find out what happens to Ace throughout the story. I don't want to give you too many spoilers. I do want to give you the gist, because this whole thing is, me reading the whole Renegades series for the first time. But it follows Nova, and Nova is a prodigy, So basically they're superheroes. Think the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but with book characters. So Nova is a anarchist who has the ability, her code name is Nightmare, and she has the ability to put people to sleep. Pretty cool, right? So Adrian is codename Sketch. So anything he draws with the intention to bring to life will come to life. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he's using. Doesn't matter like if it's a crayon or a pen or whatever it is. It's the intention behind it. So he's really an amazing artist, but not everything comes to life. So you follow these two as they meet the first time at a parade where they are trying to kill basically Captain America. I think his name is Captain Chromium. There's a list of characters in the beginning, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I had to go back and check this every time. But the first line of this book is what drew me in immediately, because the Renegades are supposedly the good guys. The Anarchists are supposedly the bad guys. The very first line of this book is, "We were all villains in the beginning." That's it. We were all villains in the beginning. The Renegades, the Anarchists, the different gang levels that were there, they were all villains. The world as they know it, people like you and me, they didn't care about the prodigies. They were scared of them. Until Ace Anarchist came through, and Ace Anarchy, that's his name, came through and gave the prodigies something that they were able to be the focus of. They were able to be the light in the world. Sure, it didn't go the way that he wanted it to, and Nova ends up living with Ace and with the little found family that she has. And I love found family. It's one of my favorite tropes. So naturally, this book stuck out to me. So you have that. And then at one point, I'm not going to give you the lead up there. You're going to have to read. But Nova ends up infiltrating the Renegades. And you find out that Nova has a second superpower. Not just the ability to put people to sleep, but at the Renegades, she's called Insomnia because Nova doesn't sleep at all. And you find out that most of the Renegades have something traumatic that caused them to gain most of their powers. Some of them, you find out, are born with it. Some of them are not. There is a bit of a mystery going on because Adrian's mother died. She was part of the original Renegades, and nobody knows how she died. There's a few clues that come up into this book, but it's been interesting following it along. I'm trying to figure out where to draw the line on the spoilers. There's a little bit of romance between Nova and someone on the team. There's a few other renegades that Nova starts to befriend, and some anarchists that turn out to not be friends or family that she thought they were. And the cliffhanger at the end of this book is insane. So I immediately started Arch Enemies is the name of the book. And we have a clip. We're doing a dual audio and physical read for that one too. And I'll check in with you whenever I'm about 50% through that book and see what I can tell you. Bye for now. Okay, so we are about 30% of the way through Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer, so Renegades Book 2. And we are, from this point on in the video, there will be spoilers because I can't talk about these two books without there being spoilers. So this picks up exactly where book 1 leaves off. So maybe a couple of months later, Nova's getting a commendation, and it is one of those things where she is fully in it. At the very end of book 1, you find out that Ace Anarchy is actually alive. So one of the biggest things that she has right now is a meeting with her uncle saying, hey, your helmet is somewhere in Artifacts, and she got assigned to Artifacts. She had requested that. She's still full spy mode in Renegades headquarters. So then you're also still following Adrian. So the very first thing is you go up against a new anarchist or a new prodigy who is stealing drugs from the medical centers. So that's Hawthorne. Hasn't come up since, but Hawthorne is in the wind. So you have Nova getting the commendation for shooting Detonator. You have the realization that Max, who absorbs other people's powers, so power absorption. Basically, he's Rogue from X-Men, is how I think of it. Like, except he doesn't have to touch anybody. You just have to be in the vicinity of him, which is why he's in that quarantine. But what happens from there is they took Max's blood and have been generating it into a drug that neutralizes the progeny's powers. So the thing that makes them is gone. So the first person that they showed, the Renegades, they called this whole big meeting. They decide, oh, we're gonna show you. Well, they did it to Winston, the puppeteer, someone that knows Nova. And at this point, I'm beginning to wonder if Dana knows that Nova isn't exactly who she says she is, or is at least starting to suspect. Adrian and Nova are a little bit weird since he didn't get to kiss her at the end of book 1, which I was really hoping. I think they're really cute. But she's in R&D. She gets the commendation. They're going to be trained on Agent N. She lets the anarchists know, hey, they have a neutralizing agent. And that's where I'm at. I am about 30% of the way through, so we'll check in it the next time when there's something important going on. I've been going back and forth between the audiobook and the physical book because it's easier for me to do the audiobooks whenever I am at work. So we'll see you in a little bit. Hi guys, time for an Arch Enemies check-in. I'm about 65% of the way through. I haven't touched this book since I was at work last week, which is why we're in the vehicle, is we're about to head into work. The audiobook is so good. I have a theory of who killed Adrian's mom, because that's one of the underlying mysteries, and I'm pretty sure it's phobia. Just as a thought process, so follow me here. So phobia gives you your greatest fears, right? No one ever claimed Lady Indomitable's death as far as the villains of the story go. So, and one of the phrases that which is another link from the first book, is that, oh gosh, I wish I had my physical copy with me because I can't remember the exact phrase, but the phrase that is said that was on Lady Indomitables' body is a phrase that Nova as Nightmare said to Adrian as Sentinel in their first meeting in Renegades. Then Phobia said the same thing to Nova in Renegades as well. So I'm pretty sure it's Phobia that killed his mom. I don't know why. You know, villains do what villains do. But Phobia also gives me the creeps. Like, I don't like that you don't know who he is. You don't know his name. You don't know what he looks like. He looks like the Grim Reaper with a scythe. And that's it. That's all you know. And he's not around all that often. Like, he shows up whenever big things are happening. But as far as, like, the day-to-day, it's always Honey and the poison guy that I can't remember his name at the moment. Trying to remember things without your physical copy when you're listening to the audiobook, very hard, especially when you haven't touched it in 5 days, 6 days, something like that. They found a vitality charm, so now Adrian can go visit Max, and I love that. I love that Max gets to have little moments with his little family, and it's so cute. They tested out Agent N, and I think that's up to date as to where we are. Adrian and Nova are so cute. He just drew her dream, and I thought we were gonna get a kiss. We have not. They're two awkward little beans, and I adore that for them. But it's just like, come on. We're more than halfway through book 2. We've been on the slow burn now for a while. Give me a kiss. Just we're like, hold hands. And they did hold hands, and it was really cute and sweet, and I really like it. But, you know, I don't know what's gonna happen. I think Nova is having this crisis of faith, as well as Adrian is also having that crisis of faith of what do they actually believe in, because Nova's whole thing is she hates the Renegades because they didn't save her family. The file that has her particular family's deaths is locked, and she can't get into it to see what actually happened. Ace saved her, and now Ace is dying. So at what point do you start living your own dreams instead of following what other people give you, you know? So and Adrian is in the same boat where some of the Renegades policy he doesn't agree with, because there are better means sometimes to protect people than following this code that his dad's drew up. And Nova is at the point where if there were no Renegades, if there were no anarchists, if there were no villains, the world would be a better place, and the world would have survived a little bit better. So, I don't know. I've got like 30% left, and I'm nervous. Supernova's going to be a trip. But that is check-in number 2. I will check in with you guys whenever I finish the book, and we'll go from there. Hopefully it'll be in the next day or 2. And we'll go from there. Bye, guys. All right. So I was listening to Arch Enemies on the way to work, and after work today, I did nothing but sit and listen and read this book, and holy freaking shit. This book, oh buddy. So the last time I checked in, Nova was at Adrian's house, right? So she ended up getting the pendant, because the pendant she needed, that he could see Max, she needed to make sure that she was protected from Agent N, so she couldn't be neutralized. And then everything in the last like 250 pages, things went off the freaking rails. So this entire time, they both have their secret identities. Adrian is the Sentinel, and Nova is Nightmare, right? So they have their Renegades sketch and Insomnia, and all of his friends on his team, except for Nova, knows that he's the Sentinel. Dana's a butterfly currently because her swarm was caught in the anarchist hideout where Ace is. So the end of this book is absolutely insane. This is spoilers. Do not watch this at this point. If you have not read this book, do not, because I have very strong feelings about this, and I'm filming and I talk with my hands, so the camera is shaky. Sentinel shows up. Like, Adrian is following Dana after the gala that he took Nova as his date. It was super cute. Dana is a swarm because Nova stole the butterfly, knowing that Dana knows who Nova is. Dana knows everything. So she has one of Dana's swarms, so she cannot go back into her body. She's stuck as a swarm right now. So Dana leads Adrian to the cathedral where Ace is hiding. Well, she also led Ruby and, what's his name? Smokescreen. I can't remember his name at the moment. He's super cute. I love Ruby and Smokescreen. They're adorable, and I'm so glad that we have a secondary romance in this because they're adorable and I love them. But all three of them then realize that Adrian reveals who he is to them. They go down to the cathedral and they fight Ace Anarchy, which you find out, okay, well, he's not as strong as he used to be. Okay, great. At the same time that this is happening, Nova is in getting Ace's helmet so that she can restore her uncle to his former glory, and she gets stuck by Frostbite's crew, which is awful. They're evil. I hate them. They all got what got what was coming to them because Janessa Clark is a bitch. I don't like her. I've never liked her. She gives the Renegades a bad name. Like, everything that Adrian stands for as a renegade, she is completely against. She is the person that abuses her power, thinks that, oh, you don't like me, or you don't like how I'm doing things. Well, guess what? You don't get to be a prodigy anymore. Her entire team is corrupt. So they get into this big fight, and then the guy that does the earthquakes on Janessa's crew, like, not important enough for me to remember his name, he brings down Max's quarantine, so the bandit is out. And Max is trying to be the hero and protect them against Nightmare because he can be invisible, because he has his dad's superpower, he has all these other telekinetics from Ace, and it's so good until Janessa gets all pissed off and then stabs Max. And I'm not kidding, my jaw was on the goddamn floor because she didn't care. Who attacks a kid? And Janessa, the only thing she cares about is the fact that Max is out of his quarantine because he can steal her powers. She doesn't care about the fact that she just stabbed him and possibly killed this kid. Nova, on the other hand, is like, oh my god, it's Max. I have to protect Max. I have to fix Max. I've got to make sure that he's okay. So Nova has Agent End everybody. She made them into bombs. Look, so she hit the earthquake guy, the rock dude that she fought in the first book, and Janessa is getting her power stolen by Max. Cool, great. No big deal. Perfect. Max is able to cauterize part of his injuries until Nova is like, oh, no, come back here. And basically drags Janessa there so that Max can steal the rest of her powers to try and help him so that he can live. Sentinel gets there. Sentinel gets all pissed off again. Sentinel doesn't know who Nightmare is. Nightmare doesn't know who Sentinel is. Well, these two idiots are in love with each other, but they hate their alter egos. Perfectly understandable. Shit is gonna hit the fan because the Renegades captured Ace. Nova just agreed to help Adrian find Nightmare because he thinks that Nightmare tried to kill her, or tried to kill Max, and Nova can't tell him anything. So we gotta hope and pray that Max is okay because we still don't know if the kid's okay. But book 3, I'm pretty sure that Supernova, which is the end of the trilogy, is going to be off the walls, start to finish, front to back. It's going to be insane. I'm torn on rating this right now because initially it feels like a 4.75 because I did set it down, but I was still thinking about it the entire time that I had set it down for Talon's birthday weekend. But I don't know if it's a 5-star book individually. Personally, the series as a whole so far, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. The whole series is perfection. Are there little elements that I maybe didn't like? Yeah, but at the same time, like, the story is sucked in. Like, there's something about Marissa Meyer's writing that is adorable and fast-paced enough and just sucks you in. Like, this is one of those books that if you're looking for something that is going to suck you completely in, where you don't have to, like, you want to get lost in a world, like, where you don't feel like you're in the real world. This is one of those books. She does a fantastic job about making it that way with all of her books. She even did it with the Lunar Chronicles, and you get so sucked in, and she writes sci-fi so well. Like, she's one of I would say she is probably my favorite sci-fi author so far. It's not one of my biggest genres, but every book that I've read from her doesn't miss. Like, it is so good from start to finish. And I'm aching to pick this up. I have so many other books that I need to read this month. I'm pretty certain I'm going to start Supernova at some point today, maybe tomorrow for the drive to work. But I'm in love. Oh, also, they did get their first kiss. It was super cute. It was at Adrian's house, like, immediately after I checked in. Like, they're so cute. I love them so much. They're so good. So good. Right. Time for Supernova. Oh, hi, awesome nerds. So, it is the first check-in for book 3, Supernova, of the Renegades trilogy. And it picked up right where everything happened. So Max getting attacked, all of that. They had their first meeting, and you know, Janessa finally has some points that I can actually agree with, because it's the same thing that Nova was saying beforehand, which is odd that I ever want to agree with Janessa Clark, which is the same sentiment that Nova had at that point. I'm like, yeah, that's weird. I don't like that. Don't like that at all. However, the team is now meeting in Adrian's basement and are finally starting to put together that there's a spy in the Renegades crew. And it's funny because Dana is still in swarm mode, but she landed right on Nova. Dana told them exactly what was going on, and yet Nova is so smart. I think I'm like 3 chapters in. I'm listening to the audiobook currently. I left my physical book at home. But this is gonna be, I'm excited. I don't know how this is going to end, because their secrets all have to come out. Nova being Nightmare and Insomnia. Adrian being Sentinel. Like, this is going to be insane, and I cannot wait for more of this story to unfurl. I am so engrossed in this book. It's going to be one that I am not going to be able to put my hands down. So, check-in number 1. We're ready to see and find out how the Renegades figure their shit out. Ace is still in prison, but we're talking about a prison break, obviously. They got the helmet the last time, but they don't have Ace. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do and if they believe, or I think Nova's really starting to question what she does believe in, which is really good. But there's a part, and Max had better be okay. If something happens, like if Max dies, Marissa Meyer, you and I are gonna have some words if something happens to Max. I love you, and your writing is beautiful. But Max, my heart can't handle if something happens to Max. All right, back to reading. Oh, hi. It's been a minute. We've been running around for most of the afternoon in regards to what we're doing. So let me grab my book. I'll leave. Oh, so Supernova. We got to where Nova was in prison, and she was there, but she just got out. Initially, when I read this, which I've been listening to the audiobook because of the drive down to, we're staying in Deep Creek, which is in Maryland, so it's a couple hours drive, which is, the cabin's really nice, but the whole family's here, so I'm gonna do some more audiobooks and do a puzzle, but hang out with my family, maybe, but reading this, I thought it was Honey initially that was pretending to be Nightmare. It was not. It was really cute, but my jaw gasped and hit the floor right whenever I was filming and listening to it, and it was pretty funny. And then Adrian coming to get Nova whenever she was out of prison was actually pretty cute. But yeah, I'm really liking it so far. Still waiting to see how this is going to develop, because now we're in the anarchists have joined the Rejects crew, where they're all together. Ace is still in prison. Nova has seen him in prison. He's still slated for execution. Nightmare is running around. Janessa had talked the council into being able to execute Nova whenever they thought that Nova was still Nightmare, but I'm really hoping that Max is able to convince them that Janessa is the bad guy. Max is currently staying with Ruby's family, which I think is great, that he's not actually part of the quarantine, and I love that Adrian is standing up for his little brother and saying, hey, enough is enough there, like, he deserves better. But it's a little bit more. So it's interesting. It's going to be a good time. I can't wait to see how this is going to wrap up, but I'll see how this goes. I'm going to do some puzzles and listen to more of this audiobook, and we'll see what we can figure out from here. But I'll check in with you once we've made some more progress. I'm about halfway through, so I'll see what we can figure out the rest of the way. Bye, nerds. Oh, hi, awesome nerds. Please don't mind my hair. It's floofy today. And my bangs are not doing the things that they would like to do. It is in these instances when you squeal really, really loud when a book does side characters. So great. Marissa Meyer, thank you so much for Ruby and Oscar and the freaking cute kiss. I squealed at work, like in my car on my way to work today. Also, the hair is so floofy. It's an ongoing joke with the D&D group. I am walking to go get food for lunch. It's an ongoing joke with the D&D group that depending on how floofy my hair is, depends on how high the anxiety is. So today is anxiety hoodie, another comfort, my favorite thing. And, you know. Hi. This is what you get when you walk in the city, apparently. But, yeah, so Ace, the check-in for this section of the book is wild, because holy freaking crap on a cracker. Ace Anarchy has his helmet. The proposed execution turned into a bloodbath. Oh, I was in the car on the way home from our trip this past weekend and listening, and I don't do well in a car to begin with. Like, I'm constantly going back and forth and constantly snoozing and things like that. I was gripped chokehold of what was going on and what was happening, because it was utter insanity. I could not believe what was happening. But yeah, so that's where we're at. Ace just rebuilt the cathedral and is having a field day with Renegades headquarters. It's a good time. It's not a good time. He rebuilt the cathedral. Nova figured out that her bracelet is supposedly to defeat Captain Chromium. I don't think that that's the case. I think that in reality, her bracelet was made to counteract Ace's helmet. It wasn't to defeat the Chromium box. It was to destroy the helmet that was created, because her father also created that helmet, and a lot of destruction has come from it. And with the ideals that Ace has and his family, she's kind of like in this weird position of, what do I do? What's the best outcome? How do I make this world better, when that's really all Nova wants to do? So we're at that impasse. She just told Ace that she thinks that her bracelet was to defeat Captain Chromium. Calling it now. We're at 75% of the book, so we still got a little bit to go, but it's to defeat Ace. Her dad didn't trust Ace, that's why he didn't have them. Didn't have Ace and the anarchists protecting them. He didn't trust them. We still don't know what was in the file about her family from Renegades headquarters. So I think it's going to say that her dad was trying to defeat Ace Anarchy, and that Ace is the one that actually took the hit out on her family. That's my guess. So we'll see if I'm right. But I am almost to my destination. Thank you guys for keeping me company while I'm walking and talking book things. You know, vlogging is fun, and it definitely helps with the anxiety. You know how when you're off work for like 5 days straight and you have to go back into work, the first day back is like murder and you're super anxious? That's how I was today. Our vacation was good. Today is also my sister's birthday, and I'm currently going no contact, and it feels really weird not telling her happy birthday. Still deciding what to do on that. You know, weird situations and all. But yeah, October 16th, 75% of the way. Still got a bit to go. We'll listen on the way back from the walk, on the way back from grabbing my lunch. So, bye, bookish nerds. Okay, hi, yes, hello. I just finished Supernova, and holy freaking crap! My goodness gracious! The whole last 150 pages, I could not put the book down at all. Like, there was not a single moment that I could put that book down and be okay with setting the book down. There was the huge battle to wrap it up, Ace Anarchy. I'm not going to spoil the ending because the ending is so freaking good. All is explained. Marissa Meyer is the queen of wrapping up a story. Everything has its place. Everything finds its place. Everything is good. Even the things that you might think are happening or you didn't happen. Also, I absolutely called it was ace. If you remember the check-in earlier, I called that. It was 100%. I was 100% accurate. We'll say that. If you need to go back, or if you want to forget and not remember what I'm talking about, that's fine too. However, the epilogue, I was so very pleasantly surprised by that epilogue. Oh. And how phobia ties into and how phobia actually exists. So good. Oh, all of the little pieces get into this book, and it is so freaking good. I guess we're at the end and the wrap-up time. So overall for the series, it's a 5-star series, start to finish. I loved every freaking second of it. It is a fantasy sci-fi series, YA, fast-paced, simple, like very easy to get into the world. And if you like Marvel, you're gonna enjoy this. It's Marvel, but YA superheroes. There are a few major things that happen in the entire series that you follow the threads. Everything is good. The secondary romance between Oscar and Ruby is so delicious and such a slow burn, as is the relationship that develops between Nova and Adrian. That's so good. And the little bandit, I freaking love Max. Thankfully, nothing bad happened to Max. Max is alive and fine, because that was a concern there. Was it the last book or this book? Last book. Might have been the beginning of this book. I don't remember what piece of the book. Overall, every book is, the whole series is a 5-star series. The only one that I'm fully rating a 5-star is going to be Supernova. Supernova is 100% a 5-star. It wrapped this series up beautifully. It was just well written, easy to understand. Again, I could not put the last 150 pages, I could not put it down. It was sucked in. Yeah. So I guess this is the end of the vlog, fam. If you enjoyed this, let me know if you enjoy this kind of content with the spoilers. I know a lot of people aren't big fans of spoiler content, but this was one of those that I kind of wanted to do a spoiler vlog. If you prefer non-spoiler, let me know. I would be happy to do non-spoiler vlogs moving forward. If you've read the Renegades trilogy, let me know in the comments. Remember, do the likes, subscribe, all of that stuff. But yeah. Bye, bookish nerds. Until the next time.